Alright, so let's hit tab to go into edit mode, and then we're going to then press M to merge, and we're going to merge at center. And what this just did was merge every single vertex point into the center of that object. So now this object cube is actually only one vertex point, which is what we want. Press Shift, scroll down to change to vertex selection mode, as you can see there, and then press 5 to go into top view. And then we're going to hit E to extrude, and you'll see this extrudes this vertex point out into a line. So if I rotate around, you see we now have this line with two vertex points on it. So I'll go back into top view by hitting 5, and then I'm going to continue to hit E to extrude, and I'm just making up some kind of random crazy shape here. Doesn't really matter what it is. But if I press A to select all the vertex points or edges and then hit F, you'll see that that fills in a face in this space here. And now this is like any other piece of mesh. I could hit E to extrude all of this, and then hit space to go into face selection, select this face here, hit E to extrude that, Shift E to do an inset, grab that face, extrude it, etc. So that's basically how you fill in faces. If I hit tab to go back into object mode, press X and hit delete, Shift A and add a cube, and I hit tab, you'll see of course we can select any one of these faces, press X to delete the face. Now there's a difference between deleting a face worth of vertices and just a face. For instance, if I press X to delete that face and I select vertices, then it's going to delete a lot more than you might expect. It looks like it deleted almost the entire cube there, but that's actually because if I hit Control Z, when you delete the vertex points that are composed of that face, now all these faces over here don't have anything to anchor to on this side. So it makes a lot of things disappear. So if you're wondering about that, that's what's going on there. So if you just want to delete one face, of course, just hit X, delete, and select faces. I can shift scroll up to go into edge selection mode, and then alt click this edge loop here. I could hit F to fill in that face, or if I hit Control Z, I can only have two edges selected there, and hit F and be able to fill that in also. You do want to be careful when working in Blender. Blender typically likes four-sided shapes or three-sided shapes depending on whether you're working with tris or quads. If I go into face mode and I shift select this face over here and I press X and delete these two faces, and then I shift scroll up to be in edge select mode, and then I alt select that edge loop and I shift alt select that, and then I hit F, you'll see that that does fill those in. However, it fills them in rather unexpectedly and kind of strangely. And you want to watch out for stuff like that. So every time you have an opportunity to complete four sides of something, you should go ahead and do it. If I Control Z that, one way for me to have overcome that problem, if I shift scroll down to be able to see my vertex points, if I had to grab that vertex point and then shift select that vertex point, I can hit F there, and that also fills in any edge, any line, anything like that between 2 points. Now if I simply wanted to subdivide one of these edges, I could do that too. If I shift scroll up to be in edge mode, I select that edge and hit W. Likewise, I could do it again to that one, and you see that it's now subdivided even further there. But I'll Control Z all of that, and I alt select these edges here and hit F. You'll see that it will fill it in properly, such that when we go back into object mode and add a subdivision surface modifier, that there's no weird tears or weird shapes or stuff like that. Okay, let's go ahead and hit X to delete this sphere here. Let's press Shift A and add a plane and S to scale it. Then I'm going to go ahead and switch this over to texture mode so we can see shadows and so on. And I'm going to hit G to grab this plane just to move it a little bit above the grid. Then I'm going to press Q to bring up my Material Utilities menu. Since a format by default comes with a huge material library, but the only material in use at the beginning is this dark material. And that's so you can quickly select that to have some differentiation when you're modeling. So say you're not really to the point you want to start really worrying about specific colors or materials on objects. This one dark material just helps you separate between the basic gray here. So that's why I did that. So I'm going to double right click over here and add a cube. And then I'm going to just grab that up some, and I'm going to hit tab to go into edit mode. I'm going to press W to subdivide and W again. Now what I want to do to be able to create a bridge edge loop is having all of these selected. If you don't already, press A to select them all and then hit D, and then I click on my middle mouse button to constrain them to this x-axis here and just move it over there some. Actually, I'm going to press A to grab everything, select everything, and hit G to grab and bring them down to where they're just sitting right flat on this plane. So to do a bridge edge loop, I'll just select, I'll press space to go into face selection, and I'll shift select some faces here and shift select some faces here, and then press shift F. So it's F to fill in a face and shift F to do a bridge edge loop. Blender recently had a really huge upgrade on its bridge edge loop tool. Before, this was basically all you could do with it. There were some problems, such as if I control middle mouse to do a precise zoom up into here, you'll see that this space in here, there are no faces in between these two tunnels per se. In the last version of Blender, the bridge edge loop would not delete those faces, which caused problems later when you're trying to do stuff. So that's a great advancement first off. And then if I hit Control Z, it used to the bridge edge loop could only bridge between the same amount of edges. So basically there's 4 faces here and 4 faces there, so that's the only way that could work. However, if I hold down C to use my circle tool, and I just paint all these real quick, then I press Shift F, you'll see that now the bridge edge loop tool can connect between any amount of faces to another set of faces, and it just figures out how to make it work, which is fantastic. Alright, let's hit Control Z to undo that. Then I'm just going to select a face over here and then shift select the other faces and shift select these 4 faces and hit Shift F to do a regular bridge loop between these 2 guys right here. Now what I want to do is select 4 top faces on there and shift select 4 top faces on there, hit E to extrude that up. Then I'm going to press Shift E to do an inset face and bring it in a little bit. And then I'm going to select the faces on top of here and select these 4 faces on top of here and hit E to extrude those. What I want to do now is actually create an arched bridge across these 2 tops here. The only thing I really need to do that is there needs to be a slight angle of these 2 tops kind of facing towards each other just a very little bit. So I will select the faces on this one first. I'm going to hit R to rotate it and Y to constrain it to the Y-axis and rotate it just a tiny bit. And then I'm going to select the faces on here, hit R to rotate those and Y to constrain it just a very little bit. Now I've got those faces selected. I'm going to shift select these up here and I'm going to hit Shift F. Of course, that doesn't do exactly what we want it to right away. So if we hit T, which brings up our tools, then you'll notice down here in the tool operator, which always keep an eye on this area of your tool shelf when you're using different tools, even simple tools like extrude and things like that, because you'll see really neat controls to the operation you just did pop up here that you never knew existed to allow you to tweak anything you're doing really. But what we want to do is, number 1, increase the number of cuts that it makes. And you see as soon as we add one, it adds a bow in between there and there. But that bow is there because we tilted those faces. We'll increase those a couple times. As far as the interpolation mode, blend path, that's fine for this, and as well as these and the merge factor. I haven't found a lot of use in those yet. The main things you want to keep an eye on are the number of cuts, the smoothness, which we can then control the radius of our arc here, and then the profile factor also, which allows us to control the fatness and thinness sort of in our arc. And when we're not doing an arc, it allows us to control the tightness of these cuts basically. So I want that actually at 0 because I don't want it to bend in any at all. The smoothness, just get it to wherever you want and increase the cuts up until you're happy with those. And I'll bow that about like that. Pretty cool. Be careful not to click anywhere on the stage or perform another action until you've got this tool operator set exactly how you want while you're doing the bridge edge loop. As soon as I hit tab to go out of edit mode or go back in or do something else, you'll see that it's no longer available there because it's pretty much set in stone. So if I do hit tab to go into object mode, and I hit D to duplicate this over here, and I'll bring this over here like this, and then I'm going to shift select that one and hit J to join them. And when I hit tab to go into edit mode, I'm going to select a face here and then shift select the other faces, making sure that these top arches have been deselected. Shift select on these and hit shift F there. And then I'm going to pop around over to this side and select these faces and these faces also and hit shift F. So that's some pretty good use of the bridge loop tool there.